What's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 2 of the new and improved, well, hopefully improved, HOTH Topic here on YouTube, presented by the Sarlacc Digest. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, follow the Sarlacc Digest and HOTH Topic on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, wherever the heck you go on social media. I don't even know what we have anymore at this point. I'm kind of lost, but let's just roll with it. So, thanks for joining me again. Thanks for giving me a second shot. Last episode, I ranted on about leakers and confirmations and spoilers and all these things that they put out that they confirm that aren't real, right? So I want to show you what we do with the Sarlacc Digest and Hot Topic here with these rumors. We don't just toss them out, right? Because where there's smoke, there's fire. I just don't like the word confirmed. I don't like it. You don't tell somebody it's confirmed because if they're not a uber geek, right? If they're not keeping up with stuff and they don't know what's going on and who does what and who knows what, they believe the word confirmed. They believe that wholeheartedly from people. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to give zero names, but they believe that kind of stuff. And then they start talking. You can hear them in the street. All of a sudden, somebody wants to talk Star Wars with you, and you're some uber geek, right? And they tell you, "Oh no, this was confirmed. I heard it on the internet." Yeah, I know, but that doesn't mean it's confirmed. The word confirmed is way overused. But we'll give it this: where there's smoke, there's fire. So normally, when you hear a rumor, it may not be 100% true. It may not show up, but it probably was talked about somewhere, unless people are just bored making stuff up all the time, right? But one of the things right now we want to talk about, we want to take them and theory craft them, right? We want to see how it would fit into the universe. Would it work? Would it be cool? And generally what that does is hose us all up because then we come up with this cool ass story that isn't ever going to see the light of day. And that's usually, like I talked about last episode, that's when everybody gets ticked off. But here we go. So, disclaimer, none of this is confirmed. None of this is from Lucasfilm. None of this is from Disney. None of this is from anything. Heck, none of this is even from any of our sources. This is just us going off the rumors with the smoke and turning it around. And let's see if it'll fit. So, what I'm going to do today is go on all these Disney Plus rumors, all these other shows, and then take it a step further with the other rumor that there's going to be one connection to all of them. And that one connection is only one person that makes sense out of all of it that can touch every one of these projects that are rumored, and that's Ahsoka Tano. Okay, so let's talk about that real fast. So obviously it stems from the beginning at Mandalorian season 2. That's where we first heard Ahsoka was going to show up. We also heard Sabine and Rex and Boba Fett would be in Mandalorian season 2, right? And I'm in episode 4. I'll be wearing a mask and having a blaster. Just pick one of them, find it, and decide that's me. And then I'll come on your show and we'll talk about it, okay? So Mando season 2 makes total sense for her to be there. We're what, a couple years at 5 years after return. So it's fine. She could still be either on the hunt for Ezra, looking for Jedi, trying to help Luke is what I'm actually hoping, rebuild the order, right? Because we've never ever had any kind of inkling that Ahsoka and Luke have connected, spoke, or anything. What's the closest thing we've had? We know she exists after Return because we've seen the snippets after Rebels, right? And we've also seen the what is it, Galaxy of Adventures, the little cartoons. We know Hera existed after Endor, and we're assuming Sabine and everybody and Rex was there. So we're assuming these people still were playing a part in the rebellion or the New Republic. Okay, so having them in here makes total sense. I'm also figuring, like I said, all this Ahsoka should have somehow. If Hera's crossing paths with Luke and Leia, or Han and Leia, and knows the Falcon and knows these guys, right? We're assuming Ahsoka in here has to cross paths at least once with Luke Skywalker. So that's a story we're going to have to see. And I'm hoping somewhere in Mandalorian, this is how she links in there, is she knows the child exists, okay? She either senses him or knows some bit, okay, and is there to help get the child from the Mandalorian and help the Mandalorian. He might see this as a threat at first, is what I'm guessing, right? This is how I'm theory crafting it. Is he thinks she's coming after him when she's really trying to protect the child. And I'm thinking this is where it's gonna, nothing confirmed, not even a rumor of this part, okay? What I'm thinking we're gonna find out is this baby is 50 years old. We know, right? This child. We're gonna I'm to the point now where I didn't think this before. We've called it Baby Yoda for a long time, right? Our people have. I'm thinking this perhaps is where we're going to get our heartstrings pulled quick. And I'm thinking it's going to be right up in the first episode. We're going to find out something and get a little bit of Ahsoka at the end, seeing this child. Either it's going to flash back to some Yoda stuff or make her choke up, or you're going to realize this is a clone of Yoda, and she goes into a story about Yoda and how he used to care about her, and you'll see her face and her tone change, and the music will hit, and all of a sudden it'll pull our heartstrings. That's what I'm guessing is going to happen. Something's going to hit real hard, close to home with Ahsoka's feelings, and we're going to see the child Ahsoka together. And at the end, at some point, the child's going to have to leave the Mandalorian. Ahsoka's going to be the one to take the child to Luke. Okay, that's where I'm at with the Mandalorian, how Ahsoka would fit in there. Because really, there's no need for Ahsoka in here. We're not going to be doing a whole lot of Sith dueling or anything like that. We do have the Darksaber, right, with Gideon, but it's not like he's going to be much of a match for Ahsoka at all. So that's not going to be a huge issue. She's strictly here, I think, for the child, not for any kind of big battling scenes with Gideon. All right. So the other things, actually confirmed shows we know are Cassian, right? So let's go with Cassian first. Cassian's a prequel. Cassian's going to be during the early days of the rebellion at least, or flashing back and forth, maybe covering different timelines. We know Ahsoka's dealing with the rebels early. We know Ahsoka is Fulcrum, right? It would lend itself to believe that she could show up in Cassian fairly easily to give information, to give missions. Hell, she could run as Fulcrum the entire season and we not know it's Ahsoka till the very end, right? Because we've had different Fulcrums in Rebels, so it, again, makes total sense that right here she could be Fulcrum and Cassian, and we don't know it's her specifically. We'll guess all season, and all of a sudden at the end we'll realize, oh, it's Ahsoka. Okay, easy fit. The other confirmed show is Kenobi, right? And this makes obvious sense. If Ezra was able to find Kenobi, right? If he could find Obi-Wan in Rebels, and Ezra is Ezra, why wouldn't Ahsoka be able to? At this point, again, Ahsoka's part of the rebellion. We know she's Fulcrum. We know she's crossing paths with Bail Organa at least. Bail Organa knows where Ben Kenobi is. Why wouldn't he tell Ahsoka? There's absolutely no reason to not let her in on this. I know she's not a Jedi anymore, but there is zero reason that Yoda wouldn't trust her or Obi-Wan. If anybody, those are the two. When she decided to leave the Order, it was Yoda was brokenhearted about it. Not quite as much as Anakin, but he didn't want her to leave at that point. I know he had kicked her out, but he didn't even want to do that. So Yoda and her would still be cool, and Bail Organa and her would still be cool. This would all work out. She should know where Kenobi is, and we should see some kind of link or discussion about that. Matter of fact, she'll know about Luke. I think he'll tell her that's Anakin's kid, and that's one of those other things when we hit Kenobi where Ahsoka's going to be like hard-ass linked into all these shows, and that would be a huge deal for her to know that Ben or Obi-Wan is looking after Anakin's kid. Could you imagine that? It's like Aunt Ahsoka right there, and she can't go deal with Luke or help Luke. So that's an easy connection, right? Works for me. What else do we have? Now we're into the rumored type stuff, right? Boba Fett. There's a Boba Fett film, and if it's going to link to her, we're going to have to see these two link up in Mando 2. So I don't know if this is going to be a Boba Fett show before the Sarlacc and deal with his earlier days, or is it Boba Fett after the Sarlacc and in this time, and all of a sudden he's becoming a true Mandalorian somehow? I have no clue how a Boba Fett show is going to work. Okay, I assumed the Mandalorian kind of took the place of the Boba Fett movie and show, but if we're going to get a Boba Fett as well, I'll run with it. So is he out there hunting and trying to find the remaining Jedi? Is he part of that with these old ex-Imperials? Is he pulling this move, or is he now just kind of freelance and trying to be Mandalorian? Is he helping the rebellion? We don't know anything about Boba Fett at this point besides he fell in the Sarlacc pit. Don't know a damn thing. Can't even use any of the legend stuff, right? At all. So we don't know that he got out. We don't know anything but Cobb Vanth, right? That's the only thing we know is he found some Mandalorian armor on Tatooine, so we're assuming he's out. So I'm not too sure how she's going to fit in there depending on where we're at in the timeline. If we're prior to the end of the Empire, easy. Then they're still working out finding old Jedi. He's on a hunt. She blocks it, right? If they meet up in Mando, that's easy as well. He's on a hunt, on a bounty, trying to get the child in the Mandalorian. She's there to save it. That's all easy, but I'm not sure how it's going to work in the show because we don't know where it's going to fit. But I guess that could make it work in Mando, and all of a sudden they would have a history, and then we could see the history back in Boba Fett. We know there's a confirmed Bad Batch animated series, so that's a gimme, right? Easy connection in anything Clone Wars, whether it's pre-Order 66 or post-Order 66. Bad Batch is very simple to get Ahsoka in. It's where she comes from. Okay. We have a Leslie Headland unannounced in a different timeline show. So this one could be difficult because it's a timeline we're not used to. So either it's well in the future or well in the past. not too sure. So if it's in the past, Ahsoka probably will not play a part. If it's in the future, in a timeline we haven't dealt with, it's easy. You deal her in there and you just mention things like her history. You say the times of in the Clone Wars and Anakin Skywalker, and or talk about Vader's history, because everybody at this point should know in the future that Vader was Anakin Skywalker and he had a history and he was taught by Ben and all this stuff, right? We should know all these things. So at this point, we would talk about and his apprentice Ahsoka Tano. So it wouldn't be too hard to get her in even a slight mention in a future Star Wars. It would be tougher in the past. So we're thinking this Headland show must be in the future if they're going to link everything, right? That's where the rumors and the confirmations got to be careful, because if it says that she's going to link everything in Disney Plus, you can't link everything if you're in the future, or if you're in the Old Republic or anything like that. You can't link Ahsoka in. So that's where that bit of you got to not take everything by its word and go ahead and use some critical thinking to figure out, and not just say, oh, they said it on the internet, so it must be true. It can't link to that one, we don't think, but we don't know what it is yet because they haven't announced that. Dude, there's like 15 different rumored things that they haven't really announced. So who knows? There's supposed to be a Rebel sequel, which that will obviously make it easy to get her in there. Now, this is a fun one I should have used in the last show about the rumors and the leaks and all that nonsense, because swear to God, you go rumor to rumor and leaker to leaker, it says animated Rebels confirmed. Next one, Rebels animated show is not happening because there's a live Ahsoka now. Oh no, the next one says, oh no, I know for a fact that it's back and forth. And who do you believe, right? It's nonsense. So that's why we just stick here. We take all that, we theory craft it, and try to have some fun with it. Anyway, back to the other bits. We have a Thrawn Ezra live show that's rumored. Now, you know, if you listen to the show, that Thrawn, it's Vader and Thrawn. Those are my two favorite characters of all time, right? Love Thrawn through and through. Any book, Rebels, anything, I'm all over Thrawn. So if you want to throw me a live action Thrawn, I'm all for it. I don't necessarily want a whole bunch of Ezra. That's the trick with this Thrawn bit right here. And I'll do this a whole nother show, is I do think Thrawn, Old Legends Thrawn, can still fit and still run a resurgent empire in this new canon. They do, but it can't be with him and Thrawn, or him and Ezra linking up, unless Ezra joins Thrawn as this like third faction, right? We're not going to be at the First Order yet. That's still just whispers and what have you. But if he's trying to run the remnants of the Empire, or a third faction here against the Resistance and the First Order, whatever it is, as long as Ezra's with him and kind of on that anti-hero side, I'm okay. But I don't want Thrawn turning into a good guy. And I don't think Thrawn's ever been all evil, right? He's always had that, especially now in canon, he's got that point where he does what he does because it's his job and it's what he's supposed to do and his loyalty, right? Kind of like Fett was in Legends. You guys remember when Fett was not really a bad guy? We always thought he was a huge villain when we were kids, and all of a sudden the Tales of the Bounty Hunter comes out and you realize he's got morals and codes. And you know, the story I always use for that is that in Jabba's palace, when slave Leia, when she was there, right, when Leia was there and captured in the gold bikini, Jabba gives him to her, or gives her to him, throws her in his room basically, and says, "Here you go, Boba Fett." And she's like, "Don't touch me." And he's all, "Just sit there. Sex before marriage is morally wrong." I'm like, completely changed Boba Fett. So we don't know how he is now. We don't know if he's going to be a super villain or what have you. But same thing here. I don't want Thrawn falling into I'm a good guy or I'm a super villain. I like him as this anti-hero. I still like reading the books and forgetting that he's working for the Emperor. You know what I mean? He's in the most evil organization ever, but he's just doing his job and loyal to his people. I want this show to be so great, but I don't want him turned around and being on the rebellion side or the New Republic side. I just want him to be Thrawn, damn it. So with this though, since we're obviously going after Rebels, it would lend itself to believe we know Sabine and Ahsoka at the very end of Rebels were off to find Ezra, right? So it would lead itself to believe that would be the easy catch, as Ahsoka eventually at some point finds Thrawn and Ezra and brings them back to the regular world. Or I even hate that, because I don't want Thrawn being saved. If you read the books, man, just aren't digging on being saved, right? It's almost insulting to insinuate that they need to be saved. So I'd rather Thrawn and Ezra figure their way out, because Ezra's smart enough at this point and trained by, and I'll do this video later too, one of the greatest Jedi that we've seen in Kanan. And I didn't think that until the last season, just so you know. So I think Ezra has a shot, and Thrawn's obviously the smartest man in the entire canon. So she's an easy fit there, is what I'm trying to say. I almost went off completely on a Thrawn rant, had to stop myself. So that the other one, the only other rumor that I know of is a Ben Solo project. That actually could still fit too. She could show up in a Ben Solo project if she's sitting there at Luke's new academy, because there's no reason she wouldn't be, right? If we get a Ben Solo project and he flashes back from uh where he is now, like say we get a 26-year-old Ben, right? We're doing this before Force Awakens. Say we get like a 26-year-old Ben and he keeps flashing back in his fights in his own head, and he's flashbacks to when he's a kid or when he's a teenager, and you see Ahsoka visiting with Luke or Leia and all this stuff, because she should be a part of these people. You would think she really would, especially once this war is all over. If she is not close with Luke and Leia, that's upsetting to me, because if she exists and she's alive, she should have a part in their lives. You would think she would jump right on it and be part of it and jump herself into the family and try and take care of these people. You would think, right? So she should fit right into a Ben Solo project. So really, she's the link. Okay. If I'm going to compare it to any other nerd franchise, she would be the Nick Fury to the Star Wars universe, right? She would be the one kind of bring them together, or at least the link to them all, so we know they all touch. Like we didn't all know they touch with the blasters, ships, and lightsabers. But still, having that character in there is a huge deal for not the Uber fans, right? It's kind of like I say with the High Republic. The High Republic's going back 200 years. There's a reason it's not going back 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 years, because we won't see any recognizable characters, right? When High Republic goes back 200 years, you can get plenty of recognizable characters. At 200 years back, Yoda's 700 years old and on the council already. We will see Yoda in the High Republic series. It wouldn't make any sense not to. Heck, you could see a baby Chewbacca if Yoda has all these relations with Kashyyyk and he's going to miss Chewbacca. He obviously has a past with him. There's a chance to see these two characters pretty well in these stories. And several of the Jedi, I'm sure, at 200 years back. Hell, we can get Jabba the Hutt still. There's still people that can link back. They can get the casual fans something recognizable in what's going on. Going back 2,000 years, getting us Bane, getting us Revan, all those things, it doesn't work for a casual yet. But as we step back and go there, it will. And that's what I think they're doing here. And that's why having Ahsoka as the anchor to all these other rumored shows is perfect, because the casual fan will all of a sudden link on to Ahsoka. And as long as they stayed with the Clone Wars and didn't stop after the Clone Wars movie and couldn't stand Ahsoka with her Sky Guy BS, right? And watched her grow and watched her learn and watched her become, and this is where it's going to trip you out. I don't see it as Yoda. I don't see it as Obi-Wan anymore, Kanan or Luke. I see the greatest Jedi in the canon right now as Ahsoka Tano. So that might trip you out, right? But I'll do a whole video on that later and talk about it. But Ahsoka is going to be the anchor here. It's going to be a big deal, and I'm looking forward to it if the rumors are true, right? So there's my disclaimer. None of this is confirmed. None of this is known. I don't have a source that says anything other than I am pretty confident Ahsoka is in live action now. That's the one thing I'll say, is I'm pretty darn sure Ahsoka's coming. But that's it. None of the other shows outside of Cassian, Kenobi, and Mando 2 and 3 do I think one bit is confirmed. But if it is, Ahsoka's rocking it. All right. You guys take care. Be safe. Be sure to subscribe, like, follow, do whatever to HOTH TOPIC podcast and the Sarlacc Digest podcast. We're on the Raw Live Unedited Network. We're on SoundCloud for our regular podcast. We're on YouTube here because that's where you're seeing me. We're on Twitter, though I'm not very clever, but it shows up once in a while on there. I'll just retweet people's stuff, but follow us anyway because I retweet cool stuff. And that's it. So may the force be with you. Take care, and I'm out.